Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. Grab a drink, sit back, and relax.
What's up?
What is up, everybody? It's your boy. It's KonKon. Back at it again.
Back with another episode live from the $10,000 sponsor studio.
The Plateau Painting Studio. Yes. This week, look, Loki. This is the return of the Cantina of Heroes. And I did not play the right intro.
We can do it as a bumper after our drinks.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
do our
yeah,
drinks
we'll
and
do
we'll
it.
go
Yeah,
with
we'll
that.
do it. Yeah. Guys, so once again, we are talking about Loki, the first episode of Loki. I completely forgot it was coming out. Completely.
I was so excited leading up to this, and everything like in life happened at such a tight window that I was pleasantly surprised when I'm like, holy crap, it's out. Because I also was instinctively, even though we talked about it, thinking it came out on a Friday.
Yeah, I completely
Even though we had
forgot.
a full episode where we talked like, oh, it's cool, Marvel is following the comic release day, how all comic books are released on Wednesday of every week, or every month, or every week whenever they're coming out.
Yeah, Wednesdays.
And Marvel now is doing that with a TV show. So now any new Marvel content will be on a Wednesday no matter what. I still think it was a Friday. Totally pleasantly surprised.
I got up early Friday to watch it, and I was severely disappointed. I was like,
Wait, what?
like we're talking 5 a.m. and I sit down like I used to do for Mando, and got really disappointed. But
Why?
because it didn't come out the Friday before, and it came out on Wednesday.
It was the Wednesday after.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I had the date wrong. I'm like, oh my god.
It was a very pleasant surprise, but today we are actually recording a Patreon episode, and we're recording this amazing Cantina of Heroes episode before we get to jump into our exclusive episode, which we're going to be making a little teaser video and showing you what goes in to making these Patreon videos, or Patreon, I guess it's a video, an episode, whatever you want to call it, just so you can understand what the difference is and why they're so unique and special. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe to Patreon. Even if you do the smallest $3 a month, you get some free stickers. You get to listen to our previous one as well as this new one that will be coming out in the next, should be week, I would guess. Should be about a week before we edit, get uploaded, and get it on YouTube.
What, this one?
Yeah.
This is coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, by the time you hear this, it's out.
Yeah, this came out on Wednesday. We got to get this out for sure.
So it's going to be a great one. We're going to have a full house in this studio, the $10,000 studio.
Oh, you're talking about the Patreon episode.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Loki episode.
This guy's not even listening.
No, I'm not, because... Yeah, so I just raged, like, super hard.
We're back.
We're back. I hate technology. It's so frustrating. We have this Cantina bumper that we use for the Cantina of Heroes, which you've heard before, and you're about to hear again. And I might play it on loop just because I'm so happy that we found it that I'm going to just make you hear it the whole time. But we're going to talk about what we're drinking first,
yes,
of course.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina.
There you go.
What are you having?
Here you go. I know you thirsty. Here you go.
I look at it like I
But
don't
remember,
know what it is.
no droids.
Oh, okay.
I'm drinking something new. I haven't had on the podcast.
Ooh.
So Golden Road, we've talked about this with the Cantina Mandarita.
Yes, the infamous mango one, right?
But they have the mango one. So they had a variety pack at ABC, and they had a lime citrus one, melon, and then the regular mango. This is the lemon one. It's similar to what you were drinking, but it just doesn't taste like artificial.
We're talking about the last episode.
The
I was
heavy
drinking
lemon.
the watermelon.
Yeah, the heavy lemon. This is really good. I had this. I mixed it with tequila and like fresh lime and agave syrup and made another like ghetto margarita thing. It was really, really good. By itself, it's okay. You can just crush these. It's a 5 out of 10 for me.
On its own lower score, mixed as something else, does that crank it
mixed
up?
as something else.
Does that crank it up?
Yeah, at least a 7 for sure. James, what are you drinking?
Not a lot of people are going to know about this. It's local, but it's unheard of. They make a light version, and then there's a genuine draft. And it's a bit old school. It's either bottle, regular can, or twist off like the larger can. And it's Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
Yeah, it's Miller Lite.
That is classic. You can't go wrong with
Yeah,
Miller
you can't
Lite.
go wrong with
You can
Miller
make a
Lite.
margarita out of it. It's going to be terrible, though.
Ew, yeah, that would be really, really bad. that just turns my stomach
gonna
just
get
thinking about
worse.
it.
There is not many better of a beer to drink, though, with some good hot wings than a Miller Lite. I will say that.
And their aluminum can bottle
the pint
thing.
cans?
Yeah,
The pint cans?
those are, you can just, because they got the
Coors
big open mouth.
and
you just
Miller
kill
Lite
it.
both are like, that is one of the most crushable beers ever when those pint cans.
And you can't forget about Miller High Life, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
my personal favorite.
Wait, is that
Remember
the champagne of beer, or is that...
No, that's...
It's the complain of beer.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
You're going to complain after the heartburn.
Remember when Miller in the glass bottles came out with the Vortex bottle, where the inside of it was like spirally, so it would like funnel through your mouth quicker?
Yeah, they knew you hated your life, so you needed the alcohol.
You had to get there faster.
Let's see. I'm drinking from a variety pack, which if you listen to our Bad Batch episode, I had another one out of that variety pack. This is the second beer I've never tried. It is a New Belgium Summer Bliss Tropical Wheat. So this is another 5%er. It's a wheat beer with mango, spices, and natural flavors. I haven't tried a sip yet. If you listen to the other episode, the watermelon beer was a surprise hit. Connor and I both loved it. We did not expect it, so I have high hopes for this. Let's do a live taste test.
He's got to get the sound.
That's a
ASMR.
loud slurp.
That's ASMR. Okay, this is pretty delicious. This is
All right, now you're just doing it to do it.
This is quite delicious. It's
What is it
very
again?
crisp and clean. It's a summer wheat, they call it, tropical wheat. Mango flavor, spices, and the spices is what's getting me. It's got like your initial upfront sweet, you taste the mango, but the finish has got like a little bit of a bite to it in a good way. I give this a 7 out of 10. This is great. If you see this New Belgium variety pack, the 1985 IPA is one of my favorites. That's a winner. The mango, or the heavy melon, is another winner. This tropical Summer Bliss Tropical Wheat is another winner. There's one left that is a Mountain Time Lager. I'm assuming that's going to just be pretty
Basic.
bland. I don't know if bland's the right word, but like expecting like it's just going to be a standard lager.
Pretty straightforward.
But for $15 or $15.99, it's a solid variety pack.
Loki.
Let's hit that bumper that we found.
Oh, yeah. I already almost forgot about it. Again.
I like episode plays, never play the bumper.
No, never.
The sound design is amazing.
To the Cantina of Heroes.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I am the knight. I am Batman.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Let the good times roll.
Classic.
I feel like we have to add Loki in there now. Like, just because.
Classic.
Dude, Loki, like I was saying earlier, took me by surprise. I completely forgot that it was coming out that Wednesday. Watched it that Wednesday, and now I'm excited because we used to do the podcast on Wednesdays. And now that we have Loki, and
Can do that again.
And we can do that again. So
Friday episodes get pretty tiring and easy way to piss off your wife and friends.
Yes. Well, we don't care about them, let's be honest.
One way to piss them off.
Yeah, one way.
Not the only way.
Not the
And
only
many.
way. This recap of Loki, this episode was called the TVA, the Time Variance Authority.
Already a 52-minute episode.
Yeah.
Like, immediately happy, not short 38-minuters.
And this is how WandaVision and Falcon started. They started with, good first episodes, long first episodes. Hopefully, we keep
The second
momentum.
episode, they've already said, is 54 minutes.
Okay, good. That's what I'm hoping, that we keep these long episodes. I mean, I don't want short. I don't want 23-minute, anything.
Yeah.
Especially with how much talking there was in this one, and there wasn't like a ton of action. So they need to explain a lot. because it's not going to be carried through with all the action like what happened with Falcon and Winter Soldier. That first episode was like, oh my God, you're right in the action scene, and the first scene was 10 minutes. So
yeah,
something like this, they need some time to build it and build the plot.
So this episode kicks right off. We are picking up right from the events of the release of the Avengers. So we're in 2004, New York City. This is the attack of New York City.
In the Endgame scene.
Yes.
Where in Endgame they've traveled back in time.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
Is why I love it, because my whole complaint about WandaVision was I didn't feel like things were tied, because I am a fanboy. And I love the movies, and I love the whole arc, and the fact that it went right back into it was everything that I wanted. Like, I just wanted something to pick up and continue.
We said this before, remember, and exactly what you are saying, people should feel like this because Black Widow was supposed to come out
July 8th.
Then Loki, and WandaVision was supposed to come out third.
Yeah.
And WandaVision got bumped up because of COVID and a whole bunch of other things. So
yeah, Black Widow was summer of 2020, the release. Like, they already released, like, all of the toys, all of the action figures, all of the, like, the child's, like, cheap toys. Everything was already ran through production and released because they had everything before the movie came out so that it would already be in circulation. And then now the movie's coming out and they don't even have anything.
Nothing.
It's weird.
So we go to Loki, obviously, what we saw in Endgame. He picks up the Tesseract and he teleports
Boom,
himself. Gone.
Yeah.
He finds himself in Mongolia.
Yeah,
and
hilarious.
Immediately starts to try to rule the locals.
Jumps
already.
up on the rock.
Yeah, jumps up on the rock. I am Loki. Like, he's doing his Loki stuff all over again. And out come the time variant people. And this opening scene, I'm usually not a slow-mo person, but when he gets punched,
dude, and when you find out it's not, the scene is not slow-mo, he's just moving slow motion. It got me good. I loved it.
And I like the fact that it gave me that Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When they came out of the whatever portal, I was like, well, they're not really all this imposing. Like, there was no physical presence. That's probably why Loki was like, get out of my way. And then his world gets rocked. I loved it.
And two, you see them with their stupid kind of like little pikes.
Little batons.
And I'm like, what are these things going to do?
Yeah.
And later when we see that they vaporize people, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
And if you notice, the
got my ticket.
The tips change color from blue to orange depending on
I
what
didn't
they're
notice
doing.
That.
Yeah.
So if they want to stun somebody.
It's orange. It's orange when they want to disintegrate, and it's blue when they want to like slow motion stun somebody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Pick up on that.
Yeah, good pickup. So, he's picked up and he's brought straight into the TVA. And we go through this Guardians of the Galaxy prison montage of him going into the jumpsuit. He gets this
is real Asgardian leather.
This is real Asgardian leather.
I got Fallout vibes, like the
bunker,
the bunkery, like dystopian future tech, like where the robot that lasers off his clothes looked super Fallout.
Yeah,
and then the like how everything is just kind of like vintage, like a vintage vibe inside.
When he gets
1950s.
Yeah.
When he gets his introduction video to Welcome to the TVA, and it's
dude,
literally
that was
like
straight up Jurassic Park.
1960s Catch Me If You Can.
Dude, I thought Jurassic Park.
Well, I'll take Jurassic Park too.
The Dino DNA,
exactly.
Instructional video.
Dinosaurs.
I felt like you're at the Orlando Science Center for the first time, and somebody's just explaining something to you on the monitor. Yeah,
I loved it. I love how it was shown in 4:3 aspect ratio. When it went to that, it wasn't widescreen. Like, it went to an old school 4:3 aspect ratio.
I didn't notice
to
that.
give you
Did my
the
TV
old
do
vibe.
that?
Yeah, it's
for the introduction video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Everything switched and changed as if you were watching the video with him.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't notice that because the majority of the episode is in
standard 16:9.
Yeah, the correct aspect ratio. So much of everything that you just said, and I loved when, please sign here and attest that this is everything that you've
ever said.
What?
Please sign this also.
Please sign this also.
Please, God, no. Don't make me do it.
He's like, are you serious? And he drops through the floor again. It just reminded me of like the whole Chris Pratt and the Guardians,
Great humor.
Yeah, they're a-holes.
Not in your face, over the top humor. Like, it was just
campy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there was so much too about this. Like, I'm gonna say it's Hiddleston, right? Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
Everything that he does in this episode, I just want more of him, and I'm glad that we're getting a full show. And it made me realize, especially when we get to the D.B. Cooper scene, that we don't have him, or at least I don't recognize him from that many other movies. And I want to see him be more people than just Loki. Like his whole DV Cooper scene where he's doing the heist and they're explaining like, oh, they didn't care when I was messing with time back then, but now they care now. You know, and also the TVA also doesn't seem to care that all the Avengers were going through time.
Well, they explained that, though.
They explained it a little bit. Did you notice that Loki knew something was going on? He says something very particular in this episode, that when he was captured, he understood what was going on, and that's why he picked up the Tesseract. Do you remember what he says?
Mm-mm.
He goes, I knew something was going on. There were 2 Tony Starks. I could tell by the cologne.
Oh, that's right, and that's why...
I thought... Yeah, I know that I like put that on the spot for you. That was just like super cool because it puts you more in the moment that even he understood. Like that version of Loki was like, okay, I smelled Iron Man. Now I smell another because he walks past him
in the black
because he walks he walks past him in the SWAT uniform.
It makes you believe him when he says, "I am smart," and he goes, "Yeah." I mean, that is part of it because he is smart. I mean, if he picked up on that on the fly, who else is going to know? And he just because of the cologne, he understood what the Avengers did in the future. That's a really good point.
We get the scene now. He's got his jumpsuit and everything, and he gets to the take a ticket, the deli scene. I just wanted him to Shrek and just walk through all of the ropes.
I know that reference.
Yeah, now you do. And so he gets to the end, and then we see the vaporizing, and it's funny.
I wanted to know what that other guy did.
I know.
Like, what's his story?
So and I'll show you the picture. I think I took a screenshot of it.
He reminded me of that Flame Kid from Deadpool 2.
The Flame Kid.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's
what at first I was like, the long greasy black hair, and I'm like, is that him? But
did anybody happen to notice?
Is that Peggy?
Where is that at?
It's in the introduction when he first comes in and he's still in his Asgardian leather and they're walking other people around.
Is that because Steve Rogers went back and changed?
We don't know. Oh. Peggy has a whole story that's untold when Rogers in the ice. We don't know what she was doing. Remember
the Agent Carter show?
Well, yeah, but
Did
that's
anyone
true.
Watch that? Did anyone?
I watched it.
I mean,
was it good?
The first season was okay, and then it just kind of faded out.
Is that because they canceled the second season?
No, I think it went 3 seasons.
Did they really? Okay.
There's so much that this could just be in reference to. Like, if that really is her, it could not be. It really looks like her. I mean, that's almost...
I mean...
The haircut, sure.
You can tell that she has red lipstick on. I mean, to me, it looks like it.
There's some definitive characteristics.
Did you put that up to the camera?
Oh, here. It might not focus. It's not okay.
Yeah, well,
focused.
She's not in focus to begin with anyway, so it's already a blurry picture of her. But yes,
yeah, super cool idea.
I love that.
And this is something that we talked about too off camera. I want an entire TVA TV show.
Yeah,
there's so much that, and we'll get into it. That like this is almost the ultimate.
So many doors are opened with this show of
right off the rip
variances that could happen that they've corrected.
One thing in the attention to detail in the show already. I will test a show sometime when people do stuff. So like when they ask him for his ticket and he's like looking for it and then he pulls it out of his pocket, I'm like, did he really put it in his pocket? And so I watched it. My second rewatch, I purposely was like, okay, what does he do with the ticket? What does he do with the ticket?
Yeah.
And sure enough, he takes it and he's looking at it. And as he takes his first turn, he
stuffs it in his pocket,
stuffs
kind of
it in
angrily.
his pocket. Yeah. I just thought that was really, really cool.
And the introduction of Owen Wilson's character, because I was happy, but at the same time, a little nervous to know how
Captain
how Owen Wilson was going to fit into the Marvel universe with his style of acting.
Was
and
it going to detract from the character?
Yeah, like
or
where
take
was
over
it?
The character?
Where was it going to land? And man, he is classic Owen Wilson, but just phenomenal in this show.
So the first time that this is his first introduction into the MCU. He's been in other Marvel comics. This character particularly, Mobius. I had heard the name, but I didn't know that this was him. Are there 2 Mobiuses?
Or I know is Mobius from Matrix.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Is that's Morbius?
Well, Morbius is the one that came the vampire thing.
Yeah. So we get the introduction to him, and the first introduction is we're in a church in Spain, right?
Yeah, in the 1500s, like 1542
14 something, I thought. Yeah. Something like that, super far
hundreds
back.
and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
No, they were in France, because remember they were speaking French.
Oh, is that what they were speaking?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, they were in France.
So they're talking about this dead body on the ground, and the immediate you are still just.
I don't want to.
Should I change it?
You just got to turn it off for him.
Well, you have to explain what I'm staring like obsessively into.
We recorded an episode before this, and Justin would not stop watching the arcade machine that's behind me. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it behind me, and it is playing just kind of like how the loading screen of
like
a
your
video
hype
game.
reel, like the hype reel to make you want to put your quarter in.
Yeah.
Do you want me to put it on the Avenger side scroller from Super Nintendo? At least it's.
I'm fine with this. I like. I was just looking at
That'll be
Bowser.
more distracting.
It's thoroughly entertaining.
Even worse. He's like, "There's no Loki."
So,
but it's the arcade version of Mario Kart.
So we are in this church, and Owen Wilson immediately. For me, this was my first giveaway when he's talking about the body. He talked about the stab wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And what does Loki always have?
His little
Daggers.
knife.
He's got two daggers.
You thought it was Loki then with the stab wounds?
When he said the stab wounds, then of course we have the introduction of the child pointing to the glass, the stained glass of the devil, and I'm like, here's more
Mephisto.
Here's Mephisto all over again. I'm like, seriously, guys. But on my second watch, if you look at the devil, he has two horns, which obviously
curly horns, which is Loki's.
It looked just like Loki's main
That's why it
helmet.
threw me for a loop when you said France and thinking about them speaking French, because most churches and stuff like that for mythology, I thought it would be somewhere up north, like Scandinavia or something, where it would be a stained glass of Loki, like part of the whole mythology. But I'd like to see how that plays out.
Well, I think it was a stained glass depiction of the devil, because they were
just in general.
Yeah, but it just
made the assumption.
Yeah, like that's his only reference because he saw Loki's big horns of what he referenced.
Do we have the MCU version of Hellboy? We don't, right?
No.
We have the Sony version.
I think we do. I know I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, they did come out with a second. They did. I don't remember who made it, but there was a remake of Hellboy, and I can't remember if it was I don't think it was an MCU. I think it was another Sony or Fox or something.
Just this could be a connection, furthermore, of a connection of Hellboy or something else. Like this could just be something else. But obviously,
I don't think there's anything to read into. I think it's just. I think it's Loki.
Look, we're
and
Marvel fans. We have to be like, oh, he touched the pencil. That means it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like, we have to do that. That's what we do best. And of course, we later come to find out that this is in reference to Loki. This is who they're trying to get the entire time.
Oh, yeah, we find that out like towards the end of the show. Which
so
we won't spend time on that. We'll get there later.
Yeah. Then we go to, this is now Loki's trial. So Loki is before the judge, and I love the banter between the judge and Loki. And he's just like, who is judging me? And she's like, the time people. Then why are you here? Because they give me the authority. But they need to judge me. But they give me the authority. They do that whole back and forth. It was just really good. Like, that was Loki stuff to me.
Yeah, and I loved the scene. I think we passed the time, but I still want to bring it up, where he's going through the metal detector. He's like, do people not know they're robots?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right in the beginning, he's like, what is this machine for? He's like, it'll detect if you're organic or non-organic. And he's like, do people really not know they're robots? And he's like, thank you for your admission. Please pass through the machine. And he just stops. And he's like, what if I am a robot?
And then
the machine will melt
is
you from the inside.
And they call it his temporal aura or something like that it takes the picture of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that'll come into play later.
Later.
Maybe that aura could have something to do with...
to differentiate himself from the variant version of himself.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea. Because I'm sure we're going to have the classic... No, I'm him. No, he's me.
That's what I was thinking.
Type situation.
Whenever a show takes the time to show something specific like that, it always is for a reason, and it might not have a payoff for episodes down the line, but there's definitely going to be a payoff for what that picture and that aura is.
I love how we look at, like what you were saying about he touched the pencil, it must be Spider-Man, but we see something like this and we're like, that's nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said with the detail of the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
He literally puts the ticket in his pocket and it comes out of that pocket later. They showed this for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean to jump backwards in the time of the episode, but I just had to bring that up.
Yeah, no, it is a really good point. Because actually not like, it's almost like so much happens in this episode, but not happens a lot in this episode because we get a lot of flashback stuff. Like after his little trial, instead of being reset, which was him being killed, is the impression that I got. Vaporizing him.
Yeah. He's gone forever.
The
variance is now deleted.
Well, when they say reset, like I know that guy, we saw the guy without the ticket, he got apparently reset, but reset means you start something, you start again. I mean, that's the very term. So I wonder if reset actually means something else. We just haven't seen what that looks like yet.
Well, I think that
I know
reset.
they're out of time.
I think the timeline has been reset because that variance is now deleted.
They said something.
There's another one.
Just like when the squad goes and finds out what happened, they set the little time reset.
Yeah.
He specifically asks, resetting, what does that mean? When he's like being brought away, and the main like captain enforcer girl,
the black chick, that's the one that
does anyone
always
like her
controlled
as a character?
I thought she was hilarious.
She's not going anywhere. She's on the main poster.
Yeah, I thought she was
she's
hilarious.
Gonna continue. Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was really funny.
She's a little too sassy for me.
Oh, come on, she gotta be sassy.
I like sass.
You gotta
She's
have
a little
some
too
sass.
sassy. I liked it when he put her in an infinite time loop there.
That was stop it. So, and that brings us to he's about to get a sentence, and then Owen Wilson, of course, kind of objects, right, and kind of brings him back.
Oh wow! I always look up to you. This is the way it should be, right? Wow!
And I like at this point, everybody knows who he's hunting. They know who he's hunting, and he has that whisper conversation up with the judge. Do you think this is
I'm looking up at you. How appropriate. I like this.
So it's like he's like some sort of secret task force.
Yeah, but
he's a detective.
But they all knew,
right?
like, do you think this is a good idea, is what she specifically says.
Yeah.
So we already get the vibe that something is going on.
And everybody in the TVA knows who he is.
Yeah, they know that he's hunting, Owen Wilson's character is hunting this variance that's killing their teams, and it is Loki. We just didn't know it yet at the time.
Yeah.
Which, looking back on the second time and then the second watch through, you pick up on a lot more of that nuance that they don't spell out for you.
Yeah. So then he brings him to the room. Right now we're getting kind of into the interrogation type, good cop, bad cop, and he starts showing him his life. And this is so cool when we start having these spin-offs with the MCU. They can add so much time to an episode by playing footage that they already have and own the rights to, which is what we saw. We saw Thor Ragnarok. We saw Thor 2. We saw Stop Watching Mario Kart.
Just looking, he had a pot. Or a pan, I don't remember that in the regular game.
Because it's the arcade one.
Yeah.
It's different.
I was
should I shut it off? Should I shut it off?
It's just funny at this point. So, we have all of these Marvel movies that are being brought up through Loki's timeline. We have...
They're just... I'm looking into your eyes.
Oh, my God.
I'm only looking dead into Connor's eyes now.
Wow.
Do you want some focus medication?
So we see all these different Thor movies, and of course it's in Marvel movies, and it's the recollection of Loki, what he's done and what he's going to do. And I really liked this because it made me feel that how much more brothers Thor and Loki are, because we have the scene in Endgame where Thor breaks down because he can't go back to get the ether because he knows that's when his mother dies. And then for the first time, Loki is discovering that not only this is when his mom dies, but it's his fault.
I loved that whole... It kind of was like a montage of their relationship.
We love montages on this podcast.
Yeah. The one thing that I have heard, like, internet chatter, you and I, we tend to like this, where they pull from their catalog of Marvel scenes that they can...
I love it.
...build from.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of chatter of people disliking it and saying that it felt like filler.
I can see it.
It's repurposed. Yeah. It's you saw that scene originally when it came out, and now it's being repurposed. Whenever we saw Thor like mourning Loki, either when Loki betrayed him in Avengers, and then what happened in Endgame.
Shoutouts to Matt Damon.
Oh, he's coming back, just so everybody knows.
Yes, he's in the show.
Can he be the Martian, the dude, and let's just work him into MCU?
Sorry.
But anyways, with Loki, like, he finally gets to see all the after scene stuff that he never got to see about his brother, and that's where the connection was. Like, we saw it, so we get the connection, but now Loki finally gets to see the connection that he had with his family, and get to see from the outside perspective of when Odin died, and just it made this whole thing for him, and it seemed like it finally clicked.
That's what I was gonna say. Is we have the Loki that has experienced all these things, and now we have this variant version of Loki who denies, oh, this is all a trick, like none of this is real, who are you people? And it's really when he sees his mom die, and then he gets the assurance
when he sneaks back into the room alone after the
escape and all that, and he's watching his father give him his approval, And at this point in time, Loki has done all of the things that he has done because he's seeking his father's approval. He's being the bad kid, realizing that he doesn't have his father's love or his brother's approval and all this stuff.
He never trusted his dad. He never trusted his brother. And now he has the TVA who, after he escaped and he saw about the Infinity Stones, he realized that they are the ultimate oversight power. This is something that is an outside neutral influence that he can trust, that's playing back his life. They're not filtering anything. It's not through emotion. So now he gets to see, oh, okay, these were very real emotions. These were real connections. I wasn't being manipulated.
Yeah, and
this
he doesn't question that it's not real either.
Because
he never
it's
questions
outside of influence from anyone else. It's the TVA, which he's now claimed as, okay, well, is this the ultimate authority?
Before we have the escape scene, Owen Wilson, Mobius, says something. He says, "You're about to start taking things real serious." And that's when, she comes in and she's like, we have another situation, all this stuff. And he leaves. He picks him up off the floor. He takes the remote from his pocket, and that's when he's able to do his escape. What was your first thoughts when you saw all of the Infinity Stones? Because how many Infinity Stones are there? One of each.
Yeah, 5. So there should be one of each. Oh, wait, no.
6.
6, because there's the middle one in the
middle
center.
one.
Yeah,
There's 6. So when he opens this tray,
And
I'm gonna gut you like a fish. What's a fish?
Yeah.
How do you not know what a fish
How do you
is?
not know what a fish is? I've been
And I love
behind
it.
a desk my
It
whole
wasn't
life.
like there were all 6 of them. There was like 8 blue stones. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
multiple
Yeah.
They were
tesseracts.
strewn about like they were nothing.
Well, yeah, we
He
use them
calls
for
them-
paperweights.
We use them for paperweights.
That's
That's
insane.
just, it's cool to know that there's that many variances that happen. It's not like a super rarity, and it's people who are seeking power if they're using
Different
Infinity
timelines.
Stones. Yeah.
Another thing is
What the time stone is green, right?
green.
So I wondered. I should have watched it again to look back how many green ones.
There was like 3 green
I would
ones, 2
say I would
yellows.
imagine
That's the one he picked up. The one
the
that he grabbed
blue.
was
The
green.
blue is what I saw the most of, and I should have looked this up.
Tesseract.
Is the blues from the Tesseract? Yeah, I wonder like.
Space Stone is the blue.
I guess that would make sense that Space Stone
Red
and the
is
time
power.
Space and time would be the most that you could have a divergence from the timeline using those stones.
Yeah, the orange is the least, which is the Soul Stone. That's the one that you'd probably have the least divergence of. And then yellow is the Mind Stone.
So if we have Doctor Strange who uses the Time Stone
Mm-hmm.
all the time, how many variants of Doctor Strange do you think have been
See,
brought
this
to
is-
justice?
this is
Well,
something
they
that
said
we
that
have
it's
to-
meant to happen.
This-
The time travel was meant, like it was always going to happen in that main timeline.
But remember when the Sorcerer Supreme said, you can't alter time, you can't do this because there's a time, right? And she understood the fabric because when Hulk went back to get the stone, she had full comprehension
Right.
of what the timelines were supposed to be. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, how many Doctor Strange
Here's
are in
a
prison
question I
then?
have then. Because I don't think we've gotten there's not enough screen information to, what type of time travel do we have in Marvel? Is it grandfather? Grandfather is like Back to the Future, meaning if you go back into the past
You
and you
change the
alter
future.
something, it changes the future. Or is it linear, where we have? That's more what I
We
think
have
it
the
is, where we
Hulk's-
have.
we have
think it's-
Professor Hulk's explanation of that.
combining what we've learned.
Hang on, what's the explanation? Because he does say something
that if you change the past, it doesn't alter the future. You change the past's future, not your current future.
Because he
Which-
says that when they're
That's why
first.
Black Widow couldn't come back.
Which is
in
why
Endgame.
I think with what we learned in Endgame and now this show, there is the possibility for multiverses, and TVA just fights it because obviously there was a giant multiverse because that's what the whole war
the
was.
TVA also decides how many of those multiverses are being allowed to happen.
Right.
Just because there's a variant doesn't mean they're a bad variant. Everything's a variant.
And by the way, we blew right by that when he watched the video explaining the multiverse and what the variants. That's opening a giant
That's that
door for
60s time
Well,
reel.
that's Doctor Strange
Multiverse
too.
of Madness.
Yeah, that's
Like
the
it's
whole
all
door opening.
where
up to
like
this.
phase 4 is slowly becoming apparent, like what it's going to be centered around. We got galactic space stuff. We got multiverses. Like everything is kind of like starting to show.
I also want to know what type of power the TVA is, because I think that they made it perfectly known that Loki has magic as a power,
And doesn't work there.
and magic does not work
I
there.
think their power is no power. They negate all power. So it puts everyone on a level playing field.
And it's their technology.
And
then that's why when Loki came out and he said, I thought there was no magic. And he's like, there isn't any magic here. The
technological world that they live in.
They live beyond.
It reminded me of a beehive.
Yeah, it
just
was.
a giant,
it was
like
congested, and everyone was all working together.
Do you think we're going to see these Time Lords, Space Lizards, as Loki called them?
We have to. Because that's what I said. We were talking about this off air. I'm like, who are they? I've never heard of this idea. I mean, I've heard of the Eternals, which we're getting the Eternals movie later, but these are not the Eternals. They look like the people that we see in the beginning of Marvel Phase 1, the big-headed guys.
Celestials?
They look kind of like Celestials, but there's different types of Celestials, too, because, even Star-Lord is part Celestial.
So many upper echelons of people. It's like, how do you translate that to the screen and then make it so they're not so OP that it's actually interesting to watch?
So then we get, after his escape, Loki's escape, we get where he sneaks back into the room.
Yeah.
And one of the other things in that scene I loved is the real ending.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a really cool, unique way. Like,
this is where it ends.
Yeah, like this is the end of your life, dude. Like, you just watched yourself.
You can change everything that's happened from A to B, but there's nothing after B.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was a cool scene.
Yeah.
That's where he had his little mini meltdown.
Yeah, and it puts in perspective, like he said, I will push you aside, and he realizes, like you said earlier, he's the stepping stone.
Right.
And that's the point. It's like these shows, and I was telling Connor this earlier, these shows on Disney Plus give us an insight on these characters, which we would never have a spotlight put on. Loki, Winter Soldier,
Bucky.
God, I even forgot his name. That's terrible. Like, they're giving us an insight into.
We're getting the War Machine show.
Are we gonna watch that?
Yeah.
You guys gonna watch that?
What do you mean? Are we gonna watch that?
I mean, I guess
we
we're gonna
are
watch it.
A Marvel drinking podcast.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Of course, we're gonna watch it.
I hate that character. I hate that character.
Wait, you hate
War Machine or you hate Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle. Yeah, that's the question.
I mean, you choose.
Answer wisely.
War Machine is amazing. He leads
he's okay.
He leads the West Coast Avengers for a long time.
Cool story.
Anyway, sorry.
This is the guy that said he's a fanboy.
I know. He's like, F that guy.
Hey, I love and I hate deeply. Okay? If I didn't hate someone, and that means I wouldn't be a fanboy.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump back into our recap.
Dude, Tom in this scene that you're talking about, he goes through the reel. I love when actors act alone because that gives me their how high their echelons of acting is.
Yeah. What the range is.
Dude, when he is acting by himself, he's not watching what we're watching. He doesn't see this reel. Tom, as an actual actor, is having this meltdown and this emotion. Dude, I was sold. That to me put the episode over the top. I loved the humor. I loved Owen Wilson. I literally loved everything about this episode, but him doing that acting and having that meltdown, and it's just him in the room and sulking in the corner. And then we get when Owen comes back in and he's holding the Tesseract and he's like, did you try to use that? Oh yeah, a dozen times. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like,
I liked his Loki's kind of moment of not self-worth,
self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation of himself, because he kept in the earlier part of the scene where he's interrogating, he kept asking him, why do you do this? Do you enjoy hurting people? Like, what is your
we didn't even
reason?
get into that. My bad.
Yeah, and then now he sneaks back in. He watches the whole reel. He has that beautiful moment, like you were talking about, with him just acting and the expression and seeing all these things that are going to happen to him, and then he realizes it's the truth, and he finally has that self-evaluation.
Now that you've said that, I had an epiphany for my theory. This version of Loki that we see, the reel ends, right? It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the other Loki end? See, Owen Wilson is trying to find out what makes him tick. See, you don't want to hurt people, so why does this version of you want to hurt people? Why is this version of you killing all of these TVA people? What if we
because
need
he knows
you?
His real ends.
Maybe it could be anything.
That's
but
what I was
maybe
thinking. He already knew the end, and then he.
What if the
deviated.
TVA or whoever needs Loki, but they don't need this version of Loki that gets killed by Thanos? They need Loki for something else, but they need this version that we see, our Loki, to convince the other Loki and or Owen Wilson in the TVA needs the information from this Loki to then tell the other Loki, hey, you got to stop this. This is why. This is why they're trying to find what makes you tick. Like, what makes this version of you kill people if we know this isn't you? We need you, but we need this variant.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm super curious to know from what point in time the evil Loki, we'll call him, came from. Like, is this
when did he deviate?
Is this like thousands of years ago and he just deviated and like he just deviated when he was at his peak of, let's call it, evilness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before he kind of had his redemption.
Yeah.
Or even like the beginning of it, and like he's just off the rails at this point? Or is this something that happens in the future, and it's a future who saw everything that happened trying to save himself? Like, it could go so many different ways.
I think the way that they're still reacting, that every time they send out a team, the team is not coming back, and they're still surprised about it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something that's happening in the last couple months or whatever their version of that short timeline is, but they're reacting as if like, oh my goodness, it happened again.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something somewhat new. Maybe because this Loki that we're seeing right now captured deviated, something else splintered at the same time or just before it. I don't know, but I'm really excited to see where they go from it.
Dude, space time heist. It's amazing. I love it.
To wrap up the episode, we have the final scene where we actually see Loki. Owen Wilson, Mobius, drops the bomb that they are hunting Loki, and we go back to Oklahoma 1850s. They have discovered another variant in the time heist. Now, this little cell obviously doesn't realize it's Loki. It's just an assignment for them. They're like police. They're getting called to the scene of a crime. They think that somebody is just trying to find oil. We see a hooded figure in the field drop a lantern, and he kills everybody.
Yeah, the oil was a trail.
A distraction, yeah.
Well, no, it's not a distraction. It's
To
literally,
kill them.
It's like drizzled into a shape to...
He set a kill zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And
right where he knew they would drop into.
And that's how the episode ended. Once again, I'm super excited. I can't wait for episode 2. I'm glad that it comes out on Wednesdays, and you can just expect more.
Marvel's come out swinging, man.
Yeah.
Their 3 shows that they have dropped have been wildly popular and wildly different. Each show, nothing is repeating the same thing.
Thank God, WandaVision.
Put his volume down, please.
Hey, I recorded every episode and I keep it in the trash can right over there.
Oh
if you guys want to watch it, you can go get it.
Every episode or every show that Marvel has come out with is refreshing to watch.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing the same exact thing where it's repetitive. Like, we don't know, they went WandaVision, totally non-action.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, full action.
Yeah.
And now we have this Loki show, and it's like
split down the middle.
Yeah, split down the middle, and it's more like a thinking heisty type of a vibe that I'm feeling like you're gonna be puzzle solving. I love the way Marvel is doing this, and I can't wait to see not only the rest of this show, but how the rest of Phase 4 is gonna work out.
Final thoughts before we wrap up. One thing that I would kind of like to see is, before they started making this, I could be wrong about this. I'm curious as to where they actually acquired X-Men during this. And the reason why I say that is because I always had this fascination with Magneto in X-Men 2, where the first scene in the movie is him being a Jew and he's in the concentration camp and he pulls down the iron gate fences.
The chain link fences, yeah.
Imagine we have the introduction of... that's the food.
Oh.
Imagine we have the introduction of X-Men via time travel with this show. We have to have something that introduces the X-Men.
I can't imagine it would be this. I think we already...
Or just a mutant of some sort.
Well, we already got Madripoor in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is a massive mutant X-Men city.
Yeah.
So I think we got that little tease. I can't imagine it being in... I mean, I would be pleasantly surprised if they did, but I feel like that's a movie reveal, for the dollars.
End of credits movie reveal is how I think we're going to get our first introduction.
Oh, speaking of end of credits, didn't you guys watch all the way through?
I did.
There's no stinger or anything.
I know.
The first thing is cool.
Hold on. The very last moment of the credits,
Uh-huh.
it has like a another Fallout voiceover comes on, and it's like, "Thank you for visiting the EVH," or like something
TVA.
like EVH. Thank you for visiting.
That's it. You got it. Shaka souffle.
Last thing I thought about the episode was we got to see in all the movies. It was a little campy with Loki throughout with his in the movie arc, but in this we got to see him being DB Cooper. We got to see him.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the DB Cooper scene.
Talked about it a little bit.
Yeah,
We got to see him being
I love that it
the
was
God of Mischief.
a lost bet with Thor.
Yeah.
And Hemdall was in on it. And he was like,
You
"All
better
right,
be
fine."
ready to get me out of here.
I thought that was cool. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so that's a throwback to he's the God of Mischief, and this is part of it.
And we're also seeing Disney reuse actors. So we had the Casey.
Oh yes,
We had Casey.
Which
a lot of people
I'm
were like,
so
"Oh
glad
my gosh!"
you
Like
you realized this or saw this on the internet, because I saw him. And I'm
Someone's
like,
like, "Who is
I
this
know
guy?"
this
Where was
guy's
he?
face.
he's in the Mandalorian.
He's in The Mandalorian.
Season 1, episode 4.
Oh my goodness! There's
He's-
no way. You know what? My life could have depended on it.
The-
I'm like, that guy knows what a fish looks like.
He's
Those are
also
the
he's
two
also in The
guys-
Office.
Those are the two guys that come up on Mando and like, all right, that's a Razor Crest, right? And then they bring him back to the town.
Did you say Razor Crest
I'm
just to
repeating
try to?
what they
That's
said.
not what they said.
Isn't it the Razor Crest?
It's a Razor Crest.
A Razor Crest?
Yeah,
the
it's
Razor
a-
Crest?
Anyway,
The Razor Crest.
You guys want to play some Mario Kart?
I know you do.
thank you for joining us this week, guys. We hope that you enjoyed this coverage of Loki. We will definitely be doing more Cantina of Heroes, and my camera is not focusing. And it's not going to focus. Anyway, I was your boy, it's KonKon. Sitting across from me is the Canadian man himself, Black Coat Painting, and Justin Breezy himself.
The number one
We'll see you guys next time.
false information giver.